And so from investing into the ability to use publications and understand the publications mechanisms and ecosystem better as a part of being able to generate and push evidence and really publish evidence on your digital health tech, we have with us today someone from one of the leading life sciences companies in the world, Pfizer, Catherine Scobee, and she is a senior director of publications for innovative solutions, and really has an understanding of the process of bringing medical publications, particularly evidence-based studies around digital health tech and its efficacy, into the digital era, and really two sides of digital on that coin there. Catherine, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Great to see you, and really appreciate, we know how busy you are. I really appreciate you joining us today. And again, we had a great talk a few weeks ago about what you're doing at Pfizer, and your background is so fascinating. If you could just start off by giving us a background of yourself and your role at Pfizer.
Sure, great, thank you. Yeah, so I co-lead the publications management team at Pfizer. Our team's remit is to get clinical trial data published in peer-reviewed journals. We support every therapeutic area, every product at Pfizer in getting that data published. And so it's, our remit to make sure that the reach of our publications reaches healthcare professionals as well as, the general public too.
That's an important mission now more than ever, given everything that's going on in medicine, and given everything that's happening today in life sciences, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's, part of what we've been trying to elevate is through our Pfizer value of equity, access to medical publications, so that not just healthcare professionals, but patient advocates who are interested in medical research, what's the latest, has access to that information.
That is spot on. And from your experiences, Catherine, tell us a little bit more about what Aurora is and how you came to using that, and why it's so aligned with what is going on in publications for innovation these days.
Absolutely. It was interesting to hear the earlier panel from the Chief Medical Officer of Salesforce, because it ties in exactly into what we have been trying to achieve at Pfizer. Pfizer has 5 bold moves, the 5th one being focusing on the narrative of our science. And that's our ultimate goal as a publications team, is to drive the focus on our research and what we're trying to do to improve health outcomes. And then 2 of the earlier bold moves that we have are around unleashing the power of our people, as well as winning the digital race. And you can find these on the Pfizer website. And really, those are the 2 bold moves that really got us to bold move number 5. And we had this great opportunity to advance the way we work in publications, and transform the way we work, because the current solution we had been on for a really long time was starting to retire. And so this was through our leadership. We have a chief digital officer as well as our new chief medical officer, who are really encouraging innovation in this space. And so after taking a look at what was out there, we decided we wanted to design and build our own solution based on the Salesforce platform. And so it has that agility and flexibility that we were looking for, that we had not had before. And so this is the first new publication management system that has been placed in the market in probably over a decade. So we were really excited to be on the forefront of that and helping design that new system.
Incredible. And it's really innovation upon innovation. It's almost like an innovation channel, an innovative channel to carry out innovative publications. And so when you talk about that, you kind of mentioned user friendliness, flexibility, transparency, and how important those were. How was that achieved? How did you end up building those into Aurora, and how did that go?
It was, I will say, this was a 3-year love project that we just launched in March. And really we were given the freedom to really have some blue sky thinking around what did we want in this system. And really we're calling it an ecosystem. One of the reasons it's called Aurora is because the Roman goddess Aurora is about breaking dawn and new ideas. And so that's why we named it that. And what we wanted is not just a system to manage our publications, which is a very niche market, but also one that includes reach, impact, and feedback. We're all being held accountable through metrics. And that was one thing that we did not have. And so through that, we were able to integrate with other solutions that are out in the marketplace now that are by digital science that really helped improve the way that we will be able to execute our publications and add some transparency to the users and authors of publications, as well as drive, as I mentioned earlier, equity in publications through an integration with Unpaywall.
That's great. And whoever thought you'd be going into the software world and doing this now, but so let's dig into it a little bit further. Talk about the design and build process when you're building a platform like this. What kind of cybersecurity things were required? What kind of documentation was required? To give us a little bit more detail around, the need and the process of building software today.
Well, we're so lucky. We have such an incredibly brilliant digital team at Pfizer who really encouraged us. If we had the courage to try this as a publications team and business owner, that they were willing to work with us hand in hand. And so we were able to find a software architect consulting firm that was willing to work along with us and take the risk of building something new. We spent a lot of time listening to our stakeholders, multidisciplinary stakeholders across the organization who work in publications, medical affairs, statisticians, and collecting that information to develop the requirements of what we were looking for in our system. So that took quite a long time, a lot of focus groups, hundreds of colleagues providing input, and then streamlining that into what we could achieve, at least at the beginning, for our first phase of the launch. And then as we developed, designed, and built the system, of course, in this day and age, cybersecurity is a huge risk for many of us, and making sure that we could mitigate that. So there was, of course, the system integration testing with all of the other solutions that we've integrated into our solution, system testing, all of this conducted by our vendor. Then within house, we had user acceptance testing, we had attack and penetration testing. I mean, I could go on. I mean, it took hundreds of colleagues, hours and hours of testing to ensure that before we launched, we had a system that was robust, hopefully cybersecurity proof. I think the earlier panel discussed that as well, cybersecurity being something that Salesforce is really known for having tight security, and making sure that we met all of the requirements that Pfizer has for making sure that we are robust and have a robust system.
That is really embedded. That's definitely intense. So we have a group of folks here today that are passionate about women's health and mental health. And so talk about how this system and everything it's going to do to help really optimize the clinical trials process is going to help, and how it will help them in the women's health tech, in the development and long-term adoption process.
Sure, absolutely. Well, as you probably know, Pfizer does have products in the women's health space. And so I think that, I mean, it's not just solely in women's health that we're helping improve the access and efficiencies around getting the medical research out there quicker. So one of the things that's top of mind is we are always being watched how quickly from last patient, last visit, are we getting our medical data, our research out into the public domain. We are constantly being monitored. And so we had a mindset of we wanted to build in efficiencies in our system, automate a lot of our processes in order to help our authors get their clinical trial data submitted in a timely fashion. And that does include all of our women's health data as well. So, you know, it's collectively across all Pfizer products, but women's health is a large part of that.
That's, yeah, absolutely fantastic. And so, you know, when you look at the long-term future of this, you know, again, thinking about the women's health tech leaders that are on the program here today and that are watching around the world, what else would you recommend for them to do to be able to leverage and utilize some of what you learned about this process?
Well, one thing that's been so great, I didn't touch on is that this was actually a women-led project at Pfizer. Most of the participants and colleagues who were involved in this project were women designing this and working with our vendor. So that was a first for me at Pfizer. I've been at Pfizer 15 years working on an all-female led project to drive this. So that was exciting. And then we have our chief digital officer who is female as well. And so she inspires us to ensure that we, you know, keep women at the forefront of technology. And now we've integrated into the publication space. So that's been rather cool to have been able to achieve that.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. So, Catherine, again, knowing how busy you are and just how much is on your plate these days, we can't thank you enough for joining us today and being a part of our community. And really appreciate everything you're doing to help advance women's health outcomes and gender equity through all the good work that you're doing at Pfizer. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.
You too. So wonderful session and so much to learn from Catherine and what she's doing at Pfizer, and particularly, I think, for a lot of folks in the audience, and certainly when we met her as well, our scientists at the lab, just seeing the different systems that are at play in life science companies has been really novel. And if you look at Aurora and what Pfizer is using Aurora for, just another example of how the digital infrastructure to stand up medicine in today's ecosystem is more diverse and more advanced than ever. And Aurora is a great example of that. And it's a great example of how innovation as infrastructure is being used to bring about better innovation in medicine. So exciting all around, and really happy to talk to Catherine about what she's doing there.